Marcy Kaptur would be senior to me, actually, so I kind of jumped ahead of her.
Am I really? Thank you. Thank you very much, Congressman DeFazio, and it's a pleasure to join my colleagues here today. Let me just say, in terms of how it's viewed back in Ohio, yesterday's vote was actually Congress pausing to take a breath for the American people and to make sure that the American people understand that our banking system is fundamentally sound. The markets today are verifying that, and I think all of us are here because we want a good bill, not a fast bill. We want something that will really work. We don't want to reward bad behavior. We don't want to saddle the taxpayer. And we want to meet the actual economic challenges facing our economy. And those are predominantly two. One is, as Congressman DeFazio has referenced, the credit crunch, which with changes in the FEC accounting rules on mark-to-market, to fair value accounting and fair economic accounting would go a long way to easing the credit crunch that our banks are facing, because we don't have a liquidity crisis. We have a credit crisis right now. And that has to do with the way, this goes back to Sarbanes-Oxley, and the way that assets are being booked. It's a false credit crunch. It is not a real credit crunch. The assets have value, and we need to change that accounting in order to ease that burden. The second challenge we have is on home foreclosures, and I believe Congressman Doggett will be saying more about that, but we need a faster workout mechanism to reserve the assets that we want to have as working assets at the local level, not dead assets, and find a very, very expeditious way to do that, and Congressman Doggett will reference that. I also wanted to say that in terms of the current market, 75% of our subprime loans are working. They are not dead. They are working. And of the 25% that are having troubles, we need to work those out. Right now, we don't have a quick and easy mechanism to do that, and that is putting additional pressure on our banking system. I thought that the way that this was handled in the last couple of weeks was a needless rush to push this Congress in a way that we could not be deliberative in our efforts, and that is truly unfortunate. I think that the proposals we are offering are much more market-oriented, and they will bring the kind of discipline, I like to call it good Midwestern values of prudence and responsibility, back to the markets. Those that were not responsible will have to pay a price, but also those who have been prudent will not have to pay for their mistakes. Let me mention one item that the Congressman did not mention in his introduction, and that is I am trying to get included in this proposal an emergency financial crimes office in the Department of Justice. And the mission of that unit would be to investigate any criminal acts that led to this crisis, and there were many, hold the guilty accountable, and disgorge assets from individuals and institutions found guilty. The head of the office would be an experienced, non-political career prosecutor appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate, and Congress would provide sufficient funds to staff the office with qualified attorneys and necessary support staff of accountants and investigators. I just again want to thank my colleagues. I will end, if I can, with two sentences from a letter I just got this afternoon from a constituent in Vermilion, Ohio. I will call Ray, who is very angry. And what he says is that he lives on very little money every day, $23,000 a year. Corruption and poor management brought all this on. If you there up in Congress are going to pass this bill, then I say it is only right and fair that you, the government, finish paying off my mortgage too. All of you ran back to Washington to take care of all those overpaid CEOs who brought all this on by themselves, but when gas went up over $4 a gallon, which hurt every American because it made them pay out another $40 to $60 a week in their overstretched budget, all you up there did nothing. You took 5 weeks off. Remember that? Well, let all of the Wall Street people hurt just like the rest of us people do. I don't owe them a living. That's how the people in the 9th Congressional District of Ohio feel today. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcy.